Welcome in, guys. Thank you very much for joining me today. And I really hope you guys are doing well. So, today we're going to talk about something that I am very excited about, and that is who is going to be the 2026 NBA MVP. So, the NBA regular season is almost over, and as a result, we got to figure out who the NBA MVP is going to be. So that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to take a look and talk about the 5 players who are legit candidates for NBA MVP. And at the very end, I'm going to give my opinion on who should be the NBA MVP for this season. Before we jump into all of that stuff, I would like to mention that on my YouTube channel, I create content about money, sports, and personal topics with the goal of bringing value to other people's lives. So if you guys find value in this video, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. Also, feel free to hit the like button and make some comments on who you think should be the NBA MVP this season. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, guys. So the top 5 candidates for 2026 NBA MVP are Luka Doncic of the Los Angeles Lakers, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder, Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics, Victor Wembanyama of the San Antonio Spurs, and Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. So these are the top 5 candidates. One of these guys will win the MVP for sure. So we got a good list of players here. So next, I'm just gonna rank them from 5 to 1, in my opinion, who should be the MVP. So let's go ahead and get started with number 5. All right. So the guy and player that I have in 5th place on my 2026 NBA MVP ballot is going to be Jaylen Brown of the Boston Celtics. So Jaylen Brown is having a really good season. He didn't have Jason Tatum for most of the regular season, and his team was still one of the best teams in the East, in the Eastern Conference. Right now, they're in 2nd place. So very, very impressive regular season by Jaylen Brown. He was carrying the weight for the team the whole season. And his numbers are really good as well. So he's averaging around 28.8 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 5.3 assists per game. So he's got really, really good numbers individually. And his team is in 2nd place in the Eastern Conference. And now he's got Jason Tatum back. So they're definitely, I think, the favorites in the East to win the Eastern Conference and to eventually win the NBA championship. But really, really impressive season by Jaylen Brown. We weren't sure what the Celtics were going to look like this season without Jason Tatum. A lot of people had the Celtics maybe in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place in the Eastern Conference, but Again, they're in second place. Really, really impressive. And it's mainly due to Jaylen Brown. So good job by him. I don't have him higher on the list just because I think there's other guys who have had more impressive individual seasons. And I think other guys have better teams. So even though Jaylen Brown is having an amazing season, I think there's four guys ahead of him who are having even better seasons. So we'll see how far the Celtics go, but Jaylen Brown did what he needed to do in the regular season. He's got his best co-player back, Jason Tatum, so they're definitely going to be one of the favorites to win the NBA title. So Jaylen Brown, number 5 on my NBA MVP list. Number 4 on my NBA MVP list for this season is going to be Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets, the center who's having another amazing season. He is averaging a triple double again this season. That's now back to back seasons with him averaging a triple double. So his specific numbers this season are 27.7 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 10.8 assists per game. So that's just an incredible accomplishment. He's the only, or he's only the second player in NBA history to average a triple double in multiple seasons and specifically in back to back seasons. The other player was Russell Westbrook. So I think this is even more impressive than Russell Westbrook's triple double just because Jokic is a center. And for him to be able to get double digits in assists is really impressive. Obviously, as a big man, him getting the points per game and rebounds per game in the double digits is expected, but the fact that he has almost 11 assists per game is really, really incredible. He's one of the best passing big men of all time, and he's having another really good season. Also, he is the first player in NBA history to lead the league in rebounds per game and assists per game. So, again, that's really incredible. Just the fact that he's a center and a big man, and he's able to get the most assists per game while also leading the league in rebounds per game. So, just a incredible feat by Jokic this season. Um, his team is they're having a good season. It's not one of their best seasons, but they are in fourth place in the NBA Western Conference, record of 49-28 right now. Um, the reason I don't have him ranked higher on my list is that his team record is not as good as previous years. Like I mentioned, they're in fourth place. If they were first or second place, I would definitely have him higher. Also, the team's defense hasn't been very good this season, and a part of that problem is Jokic himself. He's not. I don't think he's a bad defender, but he's not like a great defender. I think he's just kind of average. So that kind of hurt him as far as MVP list on my board, but nonetheless, a really good season by Jokic. Um, his team is doing pretty well, just not as good as before. I do think he's more valuable to his team than Jaylen Brown is to his team. So that's why I have him ahead of Jaylen Brown. But the other three guys that I have ahead of Jokic, I think they're having better individual seasons. And also, their teams are having better seasons than the Nuggets are having. So, Nikola Jokic, number 4 on my NBA MVP list. All right, guys, now we're getting to the really good part. We're getting into the top 3 players on my NBA MVP list. And coming in at number 3, it's Luka Doncic of the Los Angeles Lakers. So Luka is having a really amazing season. He is leading the NBA in points per game. He's really carrying the Lakers on the offensive end. He has the highest usage rate on the team. He handles the ball the most. He creates everything for them. So pretty much everything for the Lakers on the offensive end runs through Luka. He's had like a 40-point stretch for multiple games. He's been NBA Player of the Month a couple of times already this season. So Luka has just been on a tear offensively. One of the best offensive seasons I've seen in a really long time. So really good job by him, and he's got his team on the back for sure, especially now with LeBron being over 40 years old and not being able to carry the offensive load like he could once. Luka has definitely taken over as the number 1 guy for the Lakers, and he really showed it this season. So officially, Luka is averaging 33.5 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, 8.3 assists per game. So really, really good numbers for him, and he's just really been killing it all season long. So I do think he's more valuable to his team this season than Jaylen Brown and more than Nikola Jokic, just because, again, Luka is doing everything for the Lakers offensively. And I think just from a value perspective, he is on a higher level than those two guys that I had in number 4 and number 5 on my list. However, I don't have Luka higher on the list because his defense is definitely a liability. He's definitely gotten better in it, and he's given more effort. He's gotten in shape, as we all know, so he just looks better on the defensive end. But still, he's easy to blow by, and he's still having very serious defensive issues. Um, just from a body language perspective, just like a lot of other people, I definitely don't like the complaining to the officials all the time. I think that's not the best leadership, and it's not the best emotional maturity and emotional intelligence in the moments. So that's why I don't have him higher on my list, is mainly because of those two things, defensive issues that he has and the lack of emotional maturity slash complaining to the refs a lot of the time. But he's still having an amazing season. Again, he's the best offensive player in the NBA. He's the best scorer. He's the best number one player. He's got probably the prettiest game in the NBA, but I can't have him higher than number three because of the issues I mentioned. And Luka just suffered a hamstring injury, and he hasn't reached the 65 game limit, which you have to reach to be eligible for NBA MVP. So, not sure how that's going to work out. Not sure if he's going to not be eligible or if they're going to change that rule, but we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see the Lakers in the playoffs. They just got destroyed by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, definitely a really good season by Luka. He's got some things he needs to work on. We'll see if he gets back in the lineup soon, and we'll see how Luka and the Lakers perform in the NBA playoffs. Number two on my NBA MVP list for 2026 is Victor Wembanyama, also known as Wemby. So Wemby is just having an amazing season. The jump that he has taken from the last couple of years has just been incredible. He has very quickly become one of the best players in the NBA. Um, I didn't think he would be this good this early. I thought he was going to be this very tall, skinny guy who's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 years to polish his game. I thought it was going to take him some time to work on his skills, his dribbling, his moves. I thought it was going to take him a lot of time to get in shape, like build up some muscle and mass. But he's done that so quickly that only in his, I believe it's his third season, he's top two in the NBA MVP balloting. And he's just really amazing. I've never seen anything like him before. He, the only thing I can think of is Shaquille O'Neal, but obviously they're very different. Just like the type of force that he is on the basketball court reminds me of Shaquille O'Neal. Just the dominance. Obviously, he's a lot taller and skinnier than Shaq, but just their dominance on the floor I feel like is comparable. But Wemby is in a world of his own. I think he's 7'5" or 7'7". He's he's dribbling like he's a point guard or a shooting guard. He's shooting threes. He's making good passes. He's the best defensive player in the NBA for sure. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. He's just really amazing. I think he's going to be the face of the NBA. I think LeBron is going to pass the torch to him. And I think Wemby is the face of the NBA for the next 10 to 20 years. I think these other guys should have gotten their MVPs by now because I think Wembanyama is going to be MVP a lot of times going forward. So whoever sneaks in and gets the MVP this season, I think is very lucky because Wembanyama is going to win most of those awards going forward, in my opinion. So just some specific numbers on Wemby. He's he doesn't play a lot of minutes. He's averaging around 29 to 30 minutes a game, and even with those minutes, he still has really good numbers: 24.7 points per game, 11 and a half rebounds per game, 3 assists per game. He's averaging 3.1 blocks per game, which is leading the NBA, as you can imagine. So just really solid and really good numbers for Wembanyama while he's in there. Um, if he plays even more minutes going forward, you can just imagine that his numbers are going to go up. He might average around 30 points per game, more rebounds, more assists, more blocks. I think the Spurs are being wise with him just because he's so tall and like brittle that, and we've never seen a player like him. I think they're being very cautious with his minutes. They don't want him to stress his body and overuse it. So I think they're just being wise, based on his size and the fact that we've never seen a body type like him in the NBA before with all these skills. So I'm definitely interested to see if he's going to get more minutes going forward in his NBA career. But Victor Wembanyama has arrived. He is the real deal. He is the future face of the NBA, and he is a very strong MVP candidate this year. He's got the Spurs in second place in the NBA Western Conference, right behind the Oklahoma City Thunder. Um, I don't think anybody thought the Spurs would be this good this season. We thought they were still too young, that they still needed a year or two to grow, but they are definitely here with Stefan Castle, De'Aaron Fox. Wemby has a lot of good teammates, so very bright future for Victor Wembanyama for the Spurs. And I definitely think Wembanyama is having a better season and more valuable than Doncic, than Jokic, and Jalen Brown. That's why I have Wemby ahead of them. I just think his defensive presence is so valuable that he's got to be ahead of those guys that I just mentioned. On the offensive end, he's not as polished, as good as Doncic, as Jokic, or even Jalen Brown, but he's good enough on the offensive end. And on the defensive end, he's just an amazing force. And I think he has to be higher than those guys that I just previously mentioned. However, I don't have him in the top spot just because his numbers are a bit low relative to the other guys as far as points per game and assists per game. And he is still young, and also his minutes per game um, is slightly less than what I would like to see. So that's why I don't have him in the top spot. Um, but he's very, very close. And the guy that I have in the top spot has just been on an incredible tear for 2 seasons in a row now, that I cannot have Wemby ahead of him. But in the coming years, I definitely expect Wemby to take the top spot and be the MVP. So, number 2 on my NBA MVP list for this year, Victor Wembanyama. And of course, that only leaves one player left. And number 1 on my NBA MVP list for 2026 is last year's MVP, Shea Gilgis Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, SGA, as he's also known by, is having another amazing season. He won the MVP last year. His team won the NBA championship, Oklahoma City Thunder. We were wondering how he was going to look and how the team was going to look this season, they look even better than last year, probably. They are the number one seed in the Western Conference. They have been the number one seed and the number one and best just looking team in the NBA the whole year. So there was really no drop off for SGA and for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I think SGA should be the MVP again. His game is not the most flashy. He doesn't dunk all over the place. He's he's not the loudest player. Um, he scores a lot. Don't get me wrong, but Luca is a better scorer than him. So SGA is not like the best in the NBA in any one single thing, but he's just so efficient and so consistent and so good every year. And his team is so good that I think you got to give him the MVP. The best player on the best team, I think, is fair to give that guy the MVP. So, in my opinion, SGA should win the NBA MVP again, like he did last year. So, some of his numbers this year, he's averaging 31.6 points per game. I believe that's second in the NBA behind Luca. He's averaging 4.4 rebounds per game. So, that's just kind of average. He is just a guard. Assists per game is 6.5. Also, that's kind of in the middle, average. So, he's not the best assist guy. He's not the best rebounding guy, but he's just so good and efficient and scoring his 31, 32 points per game. And his team is so good. And he's a good defender, a really good defender. He definitely should win the MVP over all the other guys that I listed. Um, I think he's more valuable than Jalen Brown, than Nikola Jokic this season, um, more valuable than Luka Doncic, just because on the defensive end, SGA is really good, even though Luka is a better scorer. And I do think that he's slightly better than Wembanyama this year. His team is slightly better in the Western Conference. The Thunder are first place, the Spurs are second place. And even if the Spurs catch up to the Thunder, I still think SGA is the MVP this season. He's just been too consistent. He's scoring 7, almost 8 points per game more than Wemby. He's a good defender, not as good as Wemby, just because nobody is as good as Wemby, but he's a really good defender. So SGA, in my opinion, is 2026 NBA MVP. Um, SGA wasn't that well known in his first couple years in the NBA, but the last few years with the Thunder, he's really just overtaken the NBA and become the MVP. Again, his game is not the prettiest, not the flashiest. He gets to the free throw line a lot, which is not the prettiest type of NBA basketball, but he's still so good. And I don't think he's ever going to be like the face of the NBA, just because his game is not flashy. I think that's going to be Wembanyama, but SGA is number one on my NBA list. But next year, I expect Wembanyama to overtake him, and we'll see if any other guys step up as well. So, again, number one on my NBA MVP list is Shea Gilgis Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. All right, guys, there you have it. So, that was my list of who I think should be NBA MVP. So we went from 5-1, from Jaylen Brown, number 5, Nikola Jokic, number 4, Luka Doncic, number 3, Victor Wembanyama, number 2, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, number 1. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I did. I hope you got some value out of the content. And if you did, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can continue making these videos. Hit that like button and do make some comments on who you think should be NBA MVP and why, and just any other comments that you have on the NBA MVP race. All right, guys, that's it for me. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.